So what's going on with balance? Balance. Why are people complaining about balance? I think we focus way too much, me as well, on only MVP and Cruel Fighter on the line. Not getting it. Not talking about getting it. About who got it. Who's the underlying seals? Who's the MVP? So for example, let's say a blade. Let's say a class named XYZ gets Cruel underline. Another class, ABC, didn't. Now, follow along with me. Follow along with me, guys. Did I just say XQC? Anyways, follow along XYC. Anyways, follow along with me. Our class gets Cruel Fighter underline at 22%. And then everyone's like, oh my god, this class OP. This class OP. Right? But then let's say another class didn't even be, it's not a family portrait, but it ended up being like 70%. Okay? Right? But this class always gets around 15 to 70%. Always. But he never ends up MVP. But this class sometimes gets like 11% to 22%. Right? But this guy, because he MVP once out of 4 gates, he's standing out. This guy never does. But let's say another class comes along called BEF. He one time got like, he goes to like 30%. No, that's crazy. Like 25%. Okay? So gate 3, this guy took it. But in other gates, he got like 12%, 15%, like 17%. Then this class never gets... Then this class... What happens to this class, chat? What happens to this class in Lost Ark? Everybody calls this class trash. At least in the West. You guys love that word, the T word. This guy never MVPs, but even though he's 15 to 17 percentile and carries his own weight, he's considered a trash class. Because he never gets the iceberg experience like the other classes. But you gotta understand, my friend, what did the director say? Not only the current director, but for the last couple years. What is balance based around? The average. The average. Average. People only see Surgeblade or Breaker MVP, and they're like, bruh, you know, they're not thinking about the average. There are like the bad Breakers, the bad Surgeblades. I mean, you've seen it. You guys are like, oh, I'm not going to invite Surgeblades that are new because like they're probably going to be floor DPS. Floor as in like not dead DPS, but like they're doing like 5% DPS. So the thing is, what about these classes? The consistent boys, right? So they said that what did the director say? When it comes to the averages, he doesn't see an outlier, is what he said, right? When we see like the best players in the West and the best loggers in the West and people like Powder Snow in Korea, obviously that guy gets 30% MVP on whatever he plays. Whether he plays Brawler King or he plays Sura or Surgeblade, he gets 30%, right? So if we nerf classes based on the best players, that's like saying, then imagine how hard an average player or a bad player has to try. So let's say Surgeblades or Breakers got nerfed so that you can never get 30% MVP. Okay, so the best player in the world is getting 22% Cruel Fighter. Imagine how hard an average player has to play. This guy's playing at 100%. He's playing at his best. So an average player who plays at like his 20 or 30 or 50s, bruh. So this guy's doing like 14% damage. He'll never get to achieve this, right? So that's what they're talking about. Balance. If we're only like, we've only been looking at like the best of the best. We haven't looked at like the trash of the trash and then combined it into like one, right? That's what they're saying. Do I believe what they're saying? A little bit. But that's what they're saying. In terms of when they look at the whole picture and looking at every different gates and fights, they're saying that the balance is pretty okay. There's no like strong offenders here is what they're saying. I think we hyper focus on MVP, and I think that is correct. Now, why did he mention he's not going to balance numerically, plus or minus, up or down, frequently? Now, there's two takes. One is like, you guys say you're going to balance often. Now you're not. You're giving this excuse. And then there's the other end of the spectrum. People are like, the glass half full are saying, oh, yeah, that makes sense. Because like, if they do keep doing balance patches and I have to change my accessories, I have to keep cutting rock, that is way too expensive, right? So it is like discouraging for some people. So I understand both points. I understand both points. Some people are like, what's so bad about, like, let's say A class that came out, right? It overperforms. So nerf it by 4%. Next week, oh, it's underperforming. Buff it by 2%. Oh, it's overperforming by 1%. Okay, nerf it by 1%. Well, what is wrong with that? There's that camp, as well as the camp of, oh man, if they keep doing this too often, then like people gonna invent a new build. I gotta get new tripods, new gems, new accessories. So like, though both the camps are understandable. However, one thing that people are asking is, if we are getting the rework, the fundamental rework where like balance patch, they go drastically, and then you can press a button like preset, they said, where you could switch from remaining energy to surge, for example, right? Remaining to surge at a click of a button. What we're asking for, it's not just me, but I'm also glad to see other people asking for this. What about gem rework? When are we getting gem rework? Gem rework, like, how, if I just go to a UI, like a gem UI, why can't I just select what gem I can use? Like, I have a damaged gem. Why do I have to pay this stupid thing? Why don't, if I unlocked it, let's say I have a book, like an encyclopedia, like Pokédex. If I unlock that gem, why can't I just slot it? Okay, let me spend all my silver rolling all the skills, and then it unlocks it. Now after that, why do I have to keep paying subsequent silver, right? So let's say, oh, the new system, oh, you want a damage gem for last gravity? Roll it first. You roll it, and then you get it like an icon on the book saying you unlocked it now. You don't have to pay anything. So why don't we have that, right? They want us to be able to change class engravings, right? If they want us to change from remaining to surge, from lunar to hunger, right? If they want us to do that, you gotta let us change gems. We can't do that without changing gems. We gotta change gems, bro. Let us change gems. I really hope they add that, bro. If they add that, oh my god, dude. Oh my god, dude. I don't know if they will, though, because the gem market would tank a little bit. It will tank a little bit, because that means, bruh, that frees up for me about like 10 to 20 level 10 gems. That frees up a lot of level 10 gems. Yeah. Which is good for me. I mean, it's good for everybody. It's good for everybody, man. But anyways, guys, what do y'all think, man, of what I just said? Yeah. Does what I explained make sense? I'm kind of like recapping what the community has been saying and what I've been thinking and what you guys been saying after the director's live stream, because, you know, he's got some good ideas, but it needs like additions, good additions, you know. Yeah, I'm interested to see how it cooks. Also, the soloing content, they also said that the entropy set will be removed. So I guess the solo content will be more manageable for back attack and front attack, and obviously they said that they'll address something for the support so they do enough damage. Yeah. Or maybe support don't even do damage. Maybe they just have to like heal like a target or shield a dummy. I don't freaking know. But the thing is, they said, we got it, right? Support, don't worry. Right? Don't even QQ in chat. My theory is that hard mode Thaemine will probably kill... Let me read this. Kill the game and NAU, unfortunately. Possible reasons. 1, all the things you mentioned, gatekeeping will be insane because of no plus 25 level 10. So why is there gatekeeping in the first place? Ultra instinct, right? Why is there a gatekeeping in the first place? Why? One, Thaemine is hard. It's the hardest raid. It still is the hardest raid, right? Number two, people want to do it. Why? Because of Transcendence. Because if you don't have Transcendence, you can't get into clubs, right? And then number three, people have jobs. As we saw in the YouTube comments, people got jobs, right? They don't want to... You saw how long it took me to do 4 Thaemines today, right? So people got things to do. So obviously because of the difficulty, right? Because they want to do the raid, because of the incentives, as well as because it's time consuming. What do you think is going to happen? What do you think is going to cook up? You put those in the pot, you boil it, it's going to turn into gatekeeping. It's not because people are evil. It's because people are efficient, right? They want to be efficient, right? So yes, unfortunately, it is going to cause gatekeeping, right? It's not because, because Zeal's predicted there's going to be gatekeeping. No, it's not because some streamer said gatekeep. It's because it's just natural. It's the hardest raid. There's an incentive, but people don't want to be there for hours too, right? So they're going to create crazy gatekeeping. You're right. Plus 25, level 10. No lot of salvation. No elixirs. Not enough, good enough in engraving. Yeah, it will take forever to find a support. Okay, I didn't talk about support. That's another thing about balance. Why is Smilegate saying there is no support imbalance when I am clearly seeing imbalance in Volus as well as the Guardians today? Well, I'm so glad you brought this point. Here's why there is a support lackage. And these developers are so clueless about this sometimes. So that was a reoccurring thing for like Korean players too. Gate 0, waiting for support, no support, right? They're tired of it. Let's go down history lane to Thaemine. What did Thaemine do in Korea? Can a 1630 support do Thaemine normal? I mean, a hard from day one? Absolutely. Were they getting into groups? Absolutely. Did Smilegate say that support participation for Behemoth was 95%? Absolutely. Because supports get in. On eye level, over eye level, max eye level, they get in. However, how is there a perfect balance of support to DPS ratio then? Let's think about that. Support to DPS ratio, 25 to 75. How is this possible? Well, one can conclude what he said. Right here. Hard mode Thaemine. Day 1. Let's look down history lane. Support 1, 1630. Support 2, 1630. DPS 1, DPS 2, DPS 3, DPS 4, DPS 5, blah 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 blah. You get the point. You think 1630 DPS were getting in day 1? In pugs? 1640 was the minimum in the first week. Minimum was 6040 in pugs first week. Right? We're just going down history lane. Now it makes sense, doesn't it? Doesn't this ratio make sense? Because any DPS below this did normal mode. So all those DPS characters were cut. They're out. So now it makes sense. But why is this like that? Because of the word you just said. Because it's the hardest raid of all time. Because of the gatekeeping. Oh, you don't have plus 25? You don't have level 10 gems? You're out. Go do normal. Right? That is exactly what happened. Right? This was exactly what happened. So when developers say, oh, there's no problem with the ratio, because the ratio's like this. Because they make these hard raids, and then the gatekeeping is the DPS, right? You have 10 people that apply. Class A, Class B, one guy 1650, one guy 1630. Gee, I wonder what people are gonna take to the hardest raid. A 1650 or a 1630? We have no other information. We didn't do like an interview. Hey, how many hell modes have you cleared? Or hey, how many years of gaming have you done? Right? So based off like when we apply to groups, what do we see, chat? When we apply to groups, what do we see? Let's see. What do we see? Let's see. Let me show you. Oh, would you look at that? Class, eye level. You don't see like their history, their held titles. You don't see, immediately you see two things, right? Right? Okay. So there's a last slot. Let's say 10 people apply. I wonder what they're gonna take. Do you think they'll take an on eye level DPS? Or if I apply on my max eye level character with Esther 8, who do you think they're gonna take? That is why they're saying that there's a perfect ratio. But they are incorrect about this. If we add all the 1630 characters and we add all the 1630 support and DPS, the ratio is actually, we already know the ratio. We have the API. It's like this. That is the current ratio. That is the current ratio. But these developers are like, oh man, because DPS, there's an arms race, chat. The DPS, there's an arm race. Am I wrong? Am I crazy? Am I crazy about this, chat? Who think there is no arms race for DPS? I'm just gonna walk in here on eye level as DPS, level 5 gems, lot of salvation 18. For Thaemine normal, I'm sure I'll get in. Yeah. You're crazy, but you're not wrong. Yeah, thank you. Exactly. Yeah, like that's why the director got, you know, some you know, hate, because bruh, the arms race for DPS is freaking crazy in this game, man. And the fact that it's not a free-to-play game where you could farm level 10 gems, right? Like Elden Ring. I'm talking about like Elden Ring. I'm not talking about like farming for 2 years, right? It kind of creates disparity where whales get an advantage, you know? So I'm glad you talked about that. But will it kill the game in the West? That, I don't know, man. I don't know. Will it cause gatekeeping? Absolutely, because it's a hard raid. It's a hard raid. That's why people are wanting solo content. And I wish they added solo content up to Thaemine. This is exactly why. Like, Thaemine needs to be kind of phased out or nerfed. Like, you saw how hard it was for us. You saw even Porsche saying Thaemine's the hardest for him, right? The guy who does it 6 times a week, who's doing teaching parties, who helps his friends off stream. So we'll have to see how this is. We'll have to see what Thaemine does. We'll have to see how Thaemine's system, Transcendence, as well as the new system, the new player care, solves this issue, right? Because they said they want to tackle it so that new player returnees are not cock-blocked, right? So we'll have to see how they cook it to really answer the question of, will it kill the game? Will it hurt the game? Probably. I mean, let's just not beat around the bush. Yeah, sure. Will it cause more gatekeeping? Absolutely. It caused the greatest gatekeeping in the recent history of Lost Ark in Korea. Yeah. Will it happen in the West? Absolutely. I just said it, because it's the hardest raid. People want to be efficient. They don't want to get jailed, but they want to still do the raid because of the Transcendence. Because if they don't have the Transcendence, then the next raid, they're going to get gatekept. All that formed together into a soup, right? It causes what you just said. People will be toxic. People will gatekeep. It is what it is for now, right? But the question is, how do we solve that now? They said they want to solve it, right? So we have to see how they solve it, right? All I could say is this: pain is coming, but you guys will survive. You guys will survive. What did Korean players do that were getting gatekept left and right? What did they do? Same thing in Bro, guys. Didn't do Thaemine. They just didn't do Thaemine. Reread those comments. Reread those comments, guys. He says he took a break. He's coming back if solo content comes, right? Korea also lost a lot of players too to Thaemine. Thaemine wasn't for everybody, guys. Yeah. We'll see. We'll see. Remember, Summer and winter is how they get new players back or returnees. How are they gonna do it? Is their job. Is them, they have to cook it. We'll see. The solo content sounds good. Removing entropy sounds good. It's all tied together. The Third Awakening, all of that stuff is tied together. Nerfing the Elixirs, Transcendence, all of that stuff. You know, we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes.